I have been trying to reach you, not just today, not just this week. For longer than you realize, through more channels than you noticed, in more moments than you were able to receive at the time, I have been reaching toward you. Through the song that came on at exactly the right moment and stopped you in the middle of what you were doing. Through the stranger who said something that landed in a place too specific to be coincidence. Through the 3 a.m. wake-up that you could not explain, the one where you lay in the dark and felt something pressing on your heart that you did not have words for. Through the message that found you on a day you almost did not make it through. Through this moment, right now, this pause in the middle of your ordinary day where something in you stopped and something in you listened. That was me. All of it was me. I have been trying to reach you, and today, finally, I need you to hear what I have been trying to say. My dear child, there is something I need you to understand before anything else. The distance you have sometimes felt between us was never something I created. I do not move away from you. I do not grow cold or lose interest or decide that the pursuit is no longer worth the effort. Every distance you have ever felt was a distance that formed on one side only, and it was never my side. That is not an accusation. I am not saying it to bring you shame. I am saying it because I want you to understand something about my nature that changes everything. I am the one who seeks. I am the one who pursues. I am the one who leaves the 99 to go after the one who has wandered, not because the one who wandered earned it, not because they were the most deserving or the most faithful or the most obvious choice, but because that is who I am. That is what love does when it is the kind of love I have for you. It does not wait to be sought. It goes first. It always goes first, and it has been going first for you for your entire life, whether you were aware of it or not. I want to walk you through some of the moments when I was trying to reach you and you may not have recognized it as me. Because I think when you look back with new eyes, you will begin to see a pattern that was always there, a thread of pursuit running through your life from the very beginning, a consistency of reaching that did not depend on your consistency in returning. Think about the moments that stopped you unexpectedly, the ones that broke through the routine and the noise and landed somewhere deep, the ones that did not make complete sense in the context of the day you were having, but that left a mark you still carry. Those moments were not random. They were not the universe being poetic. They were not your subconscious projecting meaning onto coincidence. They were me. They were me reaching through the ordinary fabric of your life to touch something real in you, to remind you that I was close, to plant something in you that would grow in ways you would not see immediately, but that would matter in ways you would eventually understand. I have been trying to reach you through the beauty that has stopped you in unexpected places, the light falling through a window at an angle that made you pause, the landscape that caught you off guard on an unremarkable drive, the moment in a conversation where something was said that was so exactly what you needed to hear that it took your breath away. Those were not accidents. Beauty is one of the languages I speak most fluently, because beauty bypasses the arguments and the defenses and the intellectual resistance and reaches straight into the part of a person that knows, somewhere beneath all the noise, that there is something more than the surface of things. I have been speaking to that part of you for your entire life. I have been using every beautiful thing to whisper, I am here, I made this, and I made you, and everything that stirs in you when you encounter something truly beautiful is a reflection of something that is in me and that I placed in you when I made you in my image. I have also been trying to reach you through the hard things, and I know that is more difficult to receive, but I need you to hear it, not because I caused the pain, not because I sent the loss or the betrayal or the heartbreak as a message that needed to arrive in that particular form, but because I was present in every hard thing, and in every hard thing I was reaching. In the grief, I was reaching. In the confusion, I was reaching. In the season when everything you had built seemed to be falling apart and you did not know whether any of it would survive, I was reaching. I was there in the rubble of the things that did not survive the way you hoped, reaching into the places that were exposed by the loss, touching the parts of you that could not be reached any other way, doing a work that required the opening that only the hard things can create. I was not absent in any of your suffering. I was most urgently present in it. And what I was doing in those moments was not punishing you or teaching you a lesson in the cold, detached way that phrase sometimes implies. I was pursuing you, into the hard places, into the grief, into the uncertainty, right to the bottom of the worst of it, because that is where the reaching matters most. There is something I want to ask you, and I want you to sit with it honestly rather than answering too quickly. Have you ever felt like you were too far gone for me to bother reaching for? Have you ever sat in a season of distance, whether it was a distance you chose or one that simply accumulated over time without a clear decision, and wondered whether the distance had become too great, whether the gap had grown too wide, whether there was a point of no return that you had either approached or crossed? I am asking because I know that thought has visited you. I know the flavor of that particular lie, the one that says that my pursuit has a limit, that my patience has an end, that there is a version of far enough away that puts you outside the reach of what I am willing to do to bring you back. And I need to address it directly because it is one of the most damaging things the enemy has ever planted in a believing heart. There is no too far. There is no distance my love cannot cover. There is no version of away that is outside the reach of my pursuit. The story of every person who has ever felt certain they had gone too far to come back is the same story, and it ends the same way every single time. With me running, not walking, not standing at a distance with crossed arms, waiting to be approached, running toward you, while you are still a long way off, before you have had the chance to rehearse the speech you prepared, before you have gathered enough evidence that you are ready to be received, before you have done anything to demonstrate that you deserve the welcome. Running because the sight of you turning toward home is enough. You do not have to arrive cleaned up. You do not have to arrive with the speech perfected. You just have to turn, and I will close the distance before you have taken 3 steps. I want to talk now about the ways you have been reaching back, even in the seasons when you were not sure that is what you were doing. Because I think you have underestimated how much of your life has been a response to my pursuit, even when it did not feel like faith or devotion or anything particularly spiritual. The moments when you were drawn to stillness and you did not know why. The questions you could not stop asking about meaning and purpose, and whether any of this amounts to something. The dissatisfaction with everything that the world offered as a substitute for what you were really hungry for. The way the things that were supposed to fill you never quite did. The way you kept returning to the same unanswered longing, no matter how many times you tried to address it with something else. That longing was not a malfunction. It was not evidence of something broken in you. It was the echo of my voice in you, calling you toward me, keeping the hunger alive so that you would keep looking, keep reaching, keep moving in the direction of the only thing that was ever going to satisfy it. Your restlessness was always a form of seeking, and I was always what you were seeking, even when you did not have the name for it. I also want to speak to the versions of yourself that tried to reach for me and felt like the reaching did not connect, the prayers that felt like they went nowhere, the times you opened something holy and felt nothing, the moments you went to a place of worship expecting to encounter something and left feeling the same way you arrived, maybe more disappointed than before because the expectation made the emptiness louder. I know those moments. I know how discouraging they were. I know how the accumulation of them can build into a kind of low-grade hopelessness about the whole endeavor, a quiet resignation that says maybe this is just not how it works for me. Maybe other people experience connection, but whatever I do, I cannot seem to find it. And I want to speak directly into that discouragement with something that I need you to hear. The absence of the feeling was never the absence of the connection. The moments when you reached and felt nothing were not moments when you reached and I was not there. There were moments when you reached and I received it fully, and the connection was real even though the feeling did not confirm it. Feeling and reality are not the same thing. The feeling of connection is a gift when it comes, but its absence is not proof of disconnection. You reached for me in every one of those moments, and I was there in every one of them. The reaching was never wasted, not once. Let me speak now about what I have been trying to say in all this reaching, because the reaching was never just about presence, it was always carrying a message. And the message has been the same in every form it has taken, through every channel it has come through, in every moment it arrived. The message is this: you are loved, Not in the general, theological sense that covers everyone and therefore feels like it covers no one in particular. In the specific, personal, individual sense that has your name on it. The love I have been trying to reach you with is not a policy. It is not a position I hold about humanity in the abstract. It is something I feel for you, for the particular you, the one with your history and your personality and your specific combination of gifts and wounds and questions and longings. The love that has been pursuing you your entire life is tailored to you. It knows what you need. It knows what you are afraid of. It knows the places you are most tender, and it approaches those places with care. It knows the language that reaches you, and it has been speaking that language consistently, even in the seasons when you were not fluent enough in it to understand what was being said. I want to go deeper now into something that I think will help you understand the full picture of what this pursuit has looked like across the whole span of your life. Because I do not want you to walk away from this message with a vague sense that I have been present. I want you to walk away with something more specific than that. I want you to begin to be able to look at your own story with new eyes, to go back through the chapters that felt the hardest and find me in them, not because I caused the hard things, but because I was there in all of them, and the evidence has been there the whole time waiting to be seen. Think about the moment in your life when you were most alone. Not the ordinary aloneness of a quiet evening, but the deep, disorienting aloneness of a season when the people you counted on were not there, when the support you thought you had turned out to be less solid than you believed, when you looked around and the landscape of your life was lonelier than you expected it to be at that point in your journey. I was there in that season, not as an observer, not at a comfortable distance, watching with concern, but without involvement. I was in it with you. And if you will allow yourself to look back at that season now with the knowledge that I was present, I think you will begin to find the evidence. The unexpected provision that arrived at exactly the moment it was needed. The inner strength that showed up in you that you could not account for given how depleted you felt. The sense of being held that you could not fully explain, but that kept you from falling apart completely in moments when falling apart would have been entirely understandable. That was not coincidence. That was not resilience you manufactured on your own. That was me. That was my hand underneath you in the season when the floor had given way. And it will be my hand underneath you in every season like that one that comes after this. I also want to speak to you about the relationships in your life, because I know that some of the deepest reaching I have done in your story has come through people. Through the specific, imperfect, sometimes surprising people I placed in your path at moments when you needed something that only a person could carry to you. The friend who showed up without being asked. The mentor who said the thing at the right time. The stranger who looked at you with a kindness that was so unexpected it made you feel seen in a way you had forgotten was possible. The person who, without knowing the full story of what you were carrying, somehow said exactly the words that addressed it. I was in all of those moments. I was working through those people, often without them knowing the full significance of what they were doing, to reach you in the form of human presence and human love, because I know that there are things a human heart needs that can only be received through another human heart. I made you for connection. I made you to be reached not only through the spiritual and the invisible, but through the physical and the tangible and the face-to-face. And I have been using every tool available to me to give you that, even in the seasons when connection felt most scarce. I want to address something now that I know some of you have been quietly wrestling with, something that exists at the intersection of faith and the accumulated disappointments of a life that has not always gone the way you prayed for it to go. There is a version of the question about my pursuit that is harder than the others, and it goes something like this. If you have been reaching for me all this time, why did some of the things I prayed hardest about still go the way they went? Why did the pursuit not translate into the outcomes I was trusting you for? Why did I pray and believe and hold on and still lose the thing I was holding on for? I'm not going to brush past that question because it is a real one and it deserves a real answer. And the real answer is one that requires sitting in some tension because the full answer is not one that resolves neatly in a single paragraph. What I can tell you is this: every prayer you have ever prayed has been received. Every outcome I allowed that was not the one you asked for was allowed with full awareness of what it would cost you, and it was not allowed casually or carelessly or from a place of indifference to your pain. There are things I see that you cannot see. There are reasons for outcomes that you do not have access to yet, not because I am hiding them from you, but because the full understanding of why requires a vantage point that is not yet available to you. I know that is not the complete answer your heart is looking for. I know it requires more trust than feels comfortable when the wound is still present, but I need you to know that the outcomes that hurt you were not evidence of my absence. They were not proof that the pursuit had failed or that the prayer had not reached me. They were moments where I was present in the pain in ways you could not feel at the time, and where I am still working with what those moments produced in ways you have not yet fully seen. Nothing in your story is final until I say it is. And I have not said it yet. There is a particular kind of courage that I want to build in you through this message. Not the courage that is the absence of fear, but the courage that moves forward in the presence of it. The courage that says, I do not know how this is going to go, and I do not have the certainty I was hoping for, and the feeling of connection is not as strong as I would like it to be. But I am going to keep reaching toward the God who has been reaching toward me, because the evidence of his pursuit is in my story whether I can feel it right now or not, and that evidence is enough to take one more step on. That is the courage I am talking about. And it is available to you today, not because you have manufactured it, but because I am offering it to you directly in this moment as a gift. Reach for it the same way you have been reaching for me. With the same honest, imperfect, not entirely sure it is going to work, but trying anyway energy that has characterized your faith in its most genuine moments. And I will meet that reach the same way I have met every other one. Fully, immediately, without conditions. I want to tell you one more thing about the nature of my pursuit before we move toward the close. I pursue you not because I need something from you. I do not pursue you out of loneliness or out of a requirement to be worshipped or out of any lack on my end that your presence fills. I pursue you because I love you. Because the love I have for you is not a passive, static feeling, but an active, moving, going toward force that does not rest when you are distant and does not diminish when the distance is long. I pursue you the way a parent pursues a child who is lost, not with calculation or condition, but with the single-minded urgency of love that cannot accept the alternative. You matter to me. Your life matters to me. Your presence in the fullness of the relationship I made you for matters to me, not as a number or a soul in a ledger, but as you, specifically, individually, irreplaceably you. And that is why I have been reaching, and that is why I will keep reaching. Because you are worth every moment of the pursuit. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, your support does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our daily Light of Christ community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you are not just visiting a site. You are entering a family of like-minded believers who know what it means to be pursued by a God who never stopped reaching, who gather every day to remind each other of that truth and to pray for each other and to carry each other through the seasons when the reaching is hard to feel. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with people who speak the language of faith and who will stand with you in prayer when you do not have the strength to stand alone. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give reaches someone who is sitting right now in the distance, wondering if God has stopped trying to reach them, needing to hear that he has not. Your seed reaches them. Your presence changes things. Give and it will be given to you. That is the promise that sustains this shared mission. Come with purpose. Join the conversation. Plant your seed in fertile ground. Let us open the heavens together. I want to say something to you now about what comes next, about what I am inviting you into from this moment forward. not a program, not a list of requirements, not a set of things you need to do to maintain the connection I have been reaching to establish. Just this, an open door, a standing invitation. The knowledge carried with you from this point on that the reaching has not stopped and will not stop, that every day of your life from today forward will contain moments where I am trying to reach you, and that you now have the awareness to recognize them more often, to receive them more fully, to respond to them more freely than you did before. That is all I am asking. Not perfection, not performance, just a willingness to notice, a willingness to receive, a willingness to respond, however imperfectly, however haltingly, however small the response feels compared to the magnitude of the reaching. Every response matters to me. Every small turning toward me is received with joy. You do not have to get this right. You just have to keep turning. I also want to speak one final time to the fear that says this is too good to be true. The fear that hears everything I have said today and wants to receive it, but cannot quite bring itself to, because the history of hoping and being disappointed has made hope feel dangerous, and the history of reaching and feeling nothing has made reaching feel foolish. I know that fear. I know where it came from. I know the experiences that built it. And I am not asking you to dismantle it by force of will or by simply deciding to feel differently than you feel. I'm asking you to do something smaller than that. I'm asking you to bring the fear to me, to say out loud, even if only in the privacy of your own heart, I want to believe this, but I am afraid to, and I do not know how to get from where I am to where believing would feel safe. Bring me that honest, fragile, wanting to but not sure how. That is more than enough to work with. I have always done my best work with honesty, and a heart that comes to me saying I want to believe is a heart I can meet exactly where it is and walk forward with from there. I have been trying to reach you. I am reaching you right now, and I am not going to stop, not tomorrow. Not in the next hard season, not if you wander again, not ever, because you are mine and I am yours, and the love between us was not invented by your faith or sustained by your faithfulness, and it will not end when either of those things falters. It was here before you were born. It will be here when everything else is gone. And it is here now, in this moment, in this message, in this reaching that found you in the middle of an ordinary day and said, I see you, I love you, I have never stopped coming for you, and I never will. I want to speak now about what it looks like to live, from this point forward, with the awareness that you are being pursued. Because I think the knowledge of my pursuit, if it is truly received and not just heard, changes something practical about the way you move through your days. It changes how you read the ordinary moments. It changes what you are looking for when you look at the events and encounters of a regular week. It changes the posture of your heart from one that is braced for absence to one that is open to presence. And that shift, as quiet as it sounds, is actually one of the most significant things that can happen in a person's spiritual life. Because when you begin to expect my presence rather than brace for my absence, you start to find it everywhere. Not because you are projecting or imagining or manufacturing meaning where there is none, but because the presence was always there, and you are finally looking with eyes that are calibrated to find it. I want you to practice noticing, not as a discipline that adds to your already full plate, but as a simple, gentle, ongoing act of attention. At the end of each day, ask yourself once, where was God reaching for me today? And then be patient with the answer. It may not come in the form of something dramatic or obviously spiritual. It may come as the memory of a moment that gave you unexpected peace. It may come as the recollection of a beauty that stopped you briefly. It may come as the recognition of a kindness that arrived at the right time, or a thought that surfaced when you needed direction, or a conversation that carried something you did not know you needed until it was given. Start there. Start with the small and the quiet, because that is mostly where I speak. Not because I am incapable of the dramatic, but because the dramatic gets your attention while the quiet shapes your character. And shaping your character is what most of the reaching has always been about. I also want to say something to the people hearing this who have been distant for a long time. Not a little distant, but genuinely, significantly, deliberately distant in some cases. People who made choices at some point that took them far from where they started, who have been living in a season of separation that was partly circumstantial and partly chosen, who have heard messages like this before and felt something, but then let the feeling pass without doing anything with it, because the distance felt too established to cross, because the return felt too complicated, because they were not sure the welcome they had once known was still available to them after everything. I want to speak directly to you. The welcome is still there. It has been there every day of the distance. The door that was open when you left has never been closed. The place at the table that was yours has never been given to someone else. And the love that you walked away from, or drifted from, or that simply got buried under the accumulation of a life lived in the wrong direction for a while, that love has been pursuing you through every day of the distance. It has not cooled. It has not given up. It has not replaced you with someone more consistent or more faithful or easier to love. It has been coming after you, through this, through everything that has reached you in the season you have been away, through the quiet moments when something in you missed what you once had, through the discomfort that has followed you in the places you went looking for substitutes, through this message, right now, reaching you exactly where you are. Come home. That is all I am saying. Just come home. Everything else can be worked out. But come home first. I want to close this section by saying something about the future of this pursuit, because I want you to know that what I have been doing in your past is not something that has an end date approaching. The pursuit does not wind down as you grow older, or as the relationship matures, or as the seasons change. It does not become less active, or less urgent, or less personal. I will be reaching for you tomorrow, the same way I have been reaching for you every day of your life up until now. I will be present in the ordinary moments of next week with the same attention and the same care and the same love that has been woven through every ordinary moment of every week you have already lived. The pursuit is not a phase. It is not a season of special attention that will eventually give way to something more routine. It is who I am in relation to you, permanently, completely, without any expiration. You are always being pursued by a love that does not tire. And that means that no matter what happens next, no matter what the next season brings, no matter how far the road goes, or how hard it gets, or how many times you find yourself wondering all over again whether any of this is real, the pursuit will be there. I will be there, reaching, always reaching. For you, there is one more layer to this that I want to peel back before we pray, because I think it is the layer that sits closest to the heart of what this message has really been about. Underneath all of the reaching, underneath all of the pursuit, underneath all of the signs and the quiet moments and the beauty and the provision and the words that arrived at the right time, there is a simple truth that I want to land in the deepest part of you today. I am not reaching for you because of what you can do for me, or what you represent, or what your faithfulness produces, or what your life can accomplish for a larger purpose. I am reaching for you because I want you, just you. The you that exists right now in this moment, with everything you are carrying and everything you are not sure about and everything you wish were different. I want that you. I have always wanted that you, before the cleaned up version, before the version that has it more together, before the version that has resolved the doubts and found the consistency and made peace with the things that are still unresolved. That version is wanted too, and I look forward to walking with you into it. But I want the version that is here today just as much. I want you now. I have always wanted you now, and the wanting has never been contingent on you becoming something more than what you already are. Let that land, my child. Let it reach the place in you that has been waiting for permission to be enough as you are, not perfect, not finished, not without room to grow, but enough, wanted, pursued, loved exactly as you stand. That is the message underneath every reaching. That is what I have been trying to say in every quiet moment and every unexpected kindness and every beauty that stopped you and every word that found you when you needed it. I want you. I have always wanted you. And I am not going to stop reaching until the day you are finally home and the distance between us is gone forever and the pursuit becomes something even better than pursuit. Presence. Complete, permanent, face-to-face presence. That is what all of this has been moving toward. And it is still coming. Hold on, my child. It is still coming. And I want to say this one last thing, plainly and simply, before the prayer. You are not a project to me. You are not a soul on a list that I am working my way through. You are not someone I reach for out of obligation or duty, or because that is what I am supposed to do. You are someone I reach for because the thought of you being far from me is something I am not willing to accept, because the distance costs me something too, because the love I have for you is not a policy position, but a living, active, personal investment in you and in your life and in the future I made you for. Every time you turned away, I felt it. Every time you wandered, I went after you. Every time you found your way back, I received you with more joy than you knew what to do with. And every time you are here, present, open, even if only barely, I am here with everything I have. That is the God who has been trying to reach you. That is the love that has been pursuing you. And that love is here right now, as close as your next breath, as present as this moment, as real as anything you have ever known. You are not alone. You have never been alone, and you never will be. Hold on, my child. Keep turning toward me, and trust that every time you do, I will already be there, moving toward you, closing the distance, ready to receive whatever version of you shows up. That is who I am, and that is what I will always do for you. Let us pray together. Lord Jesus, I come to you right now on behalf of every heart that is hearing this message. You know, the one who has been feeling far away and wondering if the distance was permanent. You know, the one who reached for you and felt nothing and quietly started to give up on the reaching. You know, the one sitting right now with something stirring in them, something they're almost afraid to name, because naming it means hoping, and hoping has cost them something before. Meet them right there, Lord. Let the truth of your pursuit land in them today in a way that bypasses every defense and every argument and every discouragement and reaches the place that has always known, underneath everything, that you were real and you were close and you were worth turning toward. Heal the places in them that got hurt in the reaching. Restore the courage to reach again. Let them feel today the reality of a love that has been pursuing them every day of their life and that has never once considered stopping. Remind them that the distance was never yours, that the door has always been open, that you have been running toward them since the moment they turned, and that you are running still. In Jesus' name, Amen. If this message reached you today, type "I hear you, Lord" in the comments, and share this with someone who needs to know that God has not stopped trying to reach them. He has been reaching all along, and He is reaching still.